You have one unheard message.
Hello, Jenny.
Hello, Jenny.
I need some help.
You'll never believe what they said to me.
Help me, Jenny. Help me, Jenny.
Hi, it's Jenny, modern day etiquette expert. I'm here to help. All of your awkward encounters, uncomfortable boundaries, and questionable social interactions are welcome here. We can navigate them together with warmth, empathy, and curiosity because Jenny says so. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Jenny Says So. We are here today with a question about guests in town, or not guests, but people in town. I very much vibe with this question because I moved to Edinburgh 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago to the day, 2 years ago on May 25th. And whenever somebody comes to town, they want to let me know that they're coming to town, which I am very excited about and usually very excited to see them, but not always. And we need to know what to do when we're not always excited. Also, living in Scotland, it's a little harder for people to get to me than living in New York, like this next question asker it does. So let's get to the question. Play the voicemail.
You have one unheard message.
Hey, Jenny, I've got a question for you. I recently moved to Manhattan and I'm about to turn 40, and all of this has me reflecting on how my friendships and sort of social dynamics have evolved over time. I'm an extroverted person and I'm an entrepreneur, which means I have built many connections over the years through like work and school and networking. I am finding that now that I live in New York City, people from my past, some of whom that I haven't heard from in years, reach out when they're visiting, which is great, right? Except that sometimes they expect me to act as their tour guide or sort of coordinate their plans or just be on call for catching up with them, even if it's not convenient for me. So while I really value these connections, it feels one-sided and kind of draining, especially if there's no like reciprocity or like a deeper relationship involved. On top of that, there have definitely been times where they bring other people along, which makes the dynamic even more complex. And I end up feeling more like entertainment and less like I'm hanging out with friends. So as a recovering people pleaser, I definitely struggle with setting boundaries in these situations. And I am wondering, how do I create clear criteria for myself to decide when I say yes or no to these opportunities? And are there ways that I can navigate the interactions when I do say yes so that they don't leave me feeling so depleted? I'd love your thoughts on how to protect my energy while maintaining authentic relationships. Signed, Need Boundaries Advice in New York City. Thanks.
Okay. I so appreciate this question. Need boundaries advice in New York City. I think some of us, because we seem to live like very exciting and happy lives, we attract people who want to see us like that. So I think, one, framing it as you're thriving and they can see that and they want to be around you is the first step. But I think that there's this complex matrix of decision making that we all have to sort of, it's really individualistic and it's really unique to each person that comes to the city of how far you're going to go to see them. I have had so many experiences where the universe is telling me that I should have said no to something, where like I'll go out of my way to go see somebody that I don't really feel authentically good about doing. I feel more out of obligation and I'll get a ticket or I'll get into a really bad fight with somebody or I'll almost get into a car accident. And it's like, when we do things out of obligation, it's inauthentic to ourselves. And again, the matrix of what is obligation and what is authentic and how much do I want to see this person? How much do I want to catch up with them? How much do I need to do that in person? And how convenient it is for you too. Like, is it something that can work into your schedule? Or does this person not understand that, like, yes, they will be in Manhattan and you'll be in Manhattan, but it actually is going to take you 2 hours to get to them. And you're only going to be able to see them for 15 minutes given your schedule. You need to consider all of those things. And again, it's a very complex matrix. And that comes down to you knowing yourself, the situation, and who this other person is and how badly you want to see them and connect with them. I think that when we are approached by situations like this, one of the things that we want to do is have our dossier ready and be ready for what we're going to say. So one of the things that I say to people or have said to people in the past, because not that many people come through Edinburgh, I'm going to be honest with you, that I've said to people in the past is, oh my gosh, that is so awesome that you're going to be in New York City, because I also used to live in New York City. Let me know if you come to Astoria, because that was my neighborhood. Maybe we can get a cup of coffee, right? Come to me and maybe we can meet, right? I'm not going to go out of my way because it's so cool that they're on vacation, but you're not. You're living your life. You're working, you've got laundry to do, you have dinner to make, maybe you have kids, maybe you have a dog, all of these things that you can't drop your life every time somebody comes to your city, because that's super unrealistic. So if they want to trek to you and they want to work in your schedule, that's wonderful. And again, you get to decide if you want to trek to them. I have friends who are coming from California over to Italy this summer. And I am so excited to go to Italy to see them, because I don't know when the next time I'm going to get to see them is. But that's authentic. That's not out of obligation. And I think that knowing when you can be authentic and literally show up to see somebody authentically versus out of obligation or out of societal people pleasing is very important. And practicing your little speech of, that is so awesome, have so much fun, let me know if you make it to my neighborhood, here's my list of recommendations. When we practice these little scripts ahead of time, when we practice them when we're in the shower, and we practice them while we're making dinner and while we're changing the sheets, they become much easier than if we're caught off guard and we're like, oh, I don't know what to say. You now know, need boundaries advice in New York City. You now know that this is something that happens to you. So now is the time to write your little script and make it, gentle but firm, and maybe give always a little bit of flexibility in there for how you want to handle the situation. Exactly. And get ready to give that speech. The other piece of advice, and it's funny because I just got off a call with a travel planner who has a family coming to Edinburgh, and I said, would you like my list of recommendations? I have started making, when I started spending a lot of time in Edinburgh, I started making a Google map of recommendations. And anytime somebody comes to the city or they know somebody coming to the city, I don't have to go create that list. I just go, here's my list of recommendations, and I update it occasionally. It is wonderful. I think everybody should do this for their city or a city that they love. It makes you seem like you have your stuff together. It makes you seem like you're warm and welcoming. And it means that you also don't have to interact with people more than you want to. So I think that, get your list together, your recommendations list, do a Google map. It makes you seem like you are the most together person that's ever togethered. And then get your script ready. And I think that is a very helpful way to move forward. The other piece of this is this piece, and I'm just going to read the letter again. While I value these connections, it feels one-sided and draining, especially when there's no reciprocity or deeper relationship involved. On top of that, I've had situations where people bring others along, making the dynamic even more complex, leaving me feel like entertainment rather than a friend. That is very tough. And it's tough to know what other people's dynamics are going to be. And it's tough to meet somebody new when you're trying to catch up with somebody else. And maybe that person's kind of competitive for the friend's attention. My recommendation is keep it short. Keep it short. Go, if you want to see that person badly enough that you're willing to work them into your day, or they're willing to come to you, coffee, 30 minutes, in and out, give them a hug, let them know that you still want to connect with them, look in their eyes, ask how their mom is, and you're on your way. Because sometimes those things can be very uncomfortable. I don't like going to anything that requires me to sit at a banquet table and be stuck between people I might not know. And so I think that if you can avoid any situation where you're stuck and people are sort of talking around you or competing with you in a game that you didn't know that you were participating in, I would definitely avoid that. And the way to do that is to keep it very short. and it still allows you to connect with that person without it being as draining. Like, make it work into your schedule. I had somebody that came to town that was a girl that I didn't know, and I just was like, do you want to grab a coffee? Or she'd asked if I wanted to grab a coffee, and I said, yeah. And I gave her a coffee shop that was a 5-minute walk away from me because I'm still living my life. I still have to get back to work. We had a lovely coffee. I don't think I'll ever talk to her again. And it was a nice time. It was nice to connect with somebody for that hour. And then I was gone. I was back with my day and I was home in 5 minutes. You have to think about what your energetic boundaries are and levels are, and then also consider into that. It's a very complicated math question that only exists in your stomach and only you know the answer to. So I encourage you to listen to the answer that your stomach is telling you. Hope that helps. I look forward to hearing how the next visit goes. Need boundaries advice in New York City. Thank you so much for writing in. Thanks for tuning in to Jenny Says So. Remember, setting boundaries and practicing modern etiquette isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up with kindness, respect, and authenticity in every interaction. Keep practicing, keep learning. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself when needed, and never forget, no is a complete sentence. Do you have a question you need a little help with? Head to freshstartsregistry.com/Jenny Says So and ask away. All questions are anonymous, and I'm here to help.